Hey, we're going to introduce the brush today. It is a Declaration Grooming, so dense. Finest Badger, I believe, is probably what it's a two-band, so I assume, but he probably doesn't call it Finest Badger. And this is a 24 millimeter handle, so that's what's inside the knot that's in it. And this is a whipped dog tall handle. I really enjoy because I've got big hands. And we'll put this guy into soak because that's what I like to do with my, that's how I like to prep my Badger brushes. It is an optional thing. You want to get them wet somehow. I like to soak mine. And I am going to, oh yeah, let's look at the razor. We've got the Nacet inside here. And it has been going now for 39 uses. So today is the 40th use. How about that? Voice is a little bit different because I've had a cough for several days. I will try to not cough on camera. But this is a Wolfman head, WR1. 0.67 is the gap. Polished head, obviously. See that gleam? And solid bar, not an open comb razor. And inside it is, of course, the Nacet. This is the Razor Rock radio knob handle. I think it just goes really well with the smaller, slim heads like the Razor Rock Game Changer and this head as well. I obviously prefer this one to the Game Changer. Game Changer's a little too mild and ineffective for me, since I can't go against the grain, I believe, is one of the main reasons that one doesn't work very well for me. The soap we're going to use is one that was created for a benefit by Stirling Soap Company. It's a special edition. I believe it's South Florida Wet Shavers was the online group. I don't know if R4L, I don't know what that stands for, but you can look it up online if you want. And let's see which it doesn't say exactly. So you can look that up with just the SFWS Stirling and the scent creation. The scent profile is a reproduction of Tom Ford's gray vetiver, I believe. And look how full that guy is filled up. How about that, huh? Stirling is just such a good bargain in terms of soap. It's a very low scent strength. Not very low, it's just low. And it's that gray vetiver, and it's, to me, it's very easy going, but just a light cologne. I'm kind of getting some woody in there as well. My first time using it, and so I'm going to get out my trusty 1/4 teaspoon measuring device, and let's go ahead and scoop up 1/4 of an inch, 1/4 of a teaspoon, sorry. And then, oh, it's kind of soft. That feels a little softer than a lot of the other Stirlings that I've used. I'm just going to press it down into the grooves and bowl here. You can just press it into the bottom of a normal bowl if you want to do that. Obviously, you could also lather, load up right from the tub. I like this way because I know exactly how much soap I'm using. It's very predictable, and I don't use too much soap for each shave once I figure out and make a note of what quantity is used for each base. So Stirling is such a great value. They give you 6 ounces instead of a lot of people giving you 4 for even a few dollars less than most people, and that's really cool. Plus, it's a really good performer. I mean, there are other bases out there that are better, but I mean, this is so good. It's so slick that you're just splitting hairs when you get up to those top tiers. And so I really, really enjoy what they're doing there, and so many scents that are so good. You can just always find. I'm really picky, and I still found several that I really enjoy. I'm going to, before I start working on my lather and get my face wet, cool water. I have hard water, so Stirling works fine in hard water. And then, that does not look like a lot of soap, but I guarantee you it'll get the job done. And now I'm going to take out the brush, shake the water out as much as I could, and we'll just start lathering it up. Yesterday, I went back to my silver tip brush. I started out with a Whip Dog silver tip. Last year, the year before, I got online when it came time to upgrade my basic Vanderhagen kind of low quality Badger brush. Now, we've got a little bit of barely a paste forming. It's kind of dragging on me, so that's my signal to grab my little syringe. And I'm going to put in about half a teaspoon of water and then just slowly get it going again. So I found some advice online that said Whip Dog was a really good buy. You know, a few years ago, I think Badgers were either you paid a lot of money for some expensive ones, or you just stuck with boars, you know. And so Whip Dog was recommended as a good budget Badger, and these were, you know, starting to come out, these cheaper silver tip knots. And the silver tip is one of the higher grades usually within a maker's arsenal. See, it's already got this wonderful early thick pasty lather. And so that's the brush, that's the kind of premium brush I started out with. And I say premium, you know, they're $500 brushes, so I mean, it's a relative term, but for me, I was stepping away from the El Cheapo Badgers and starting to get into some reasonable quality Badger brushes, and I used it for a good while, and it was just wonderful. I really like the softness. The tips were nice. Didn't have a lot of backbone, and I discovered that's kind of what I liked. Well, fast forward, and I've still got that was on a shorter handle, that other Whip Dog knot, and I discovered that I like longer handles because I bowl lather. And so I decided, instead of trying to yank out that epoxy knot from a shorter handle, I just went ahead and bought a new knot. So I'm hoping that it's going to shape up to be just as nice as the knot that I bought a couple of years ago. And by the way, this lather is coming together nicely. It's got 2 teaspoons of water in it, a little bit of slickness there, plenty of form. It's still a little bit on the heavy side, so I'm going to refill. Put in another half teaspoon. And so I'm going back and forth right now between that Badger brush, that silver tip from Whip Dog with low backbone and nice tips, to this Declaration Grooming brush with medium high backbone and high density, whereas the other one was kind of average density. This is a high density, so the bristles are all standing next to each other, crammed in, and so there's less flex. And that helps with increasing the backbone of the brush. And then, but then the tips are just crazy amazing. So, I'm hoping that just by going back and forth, I can nail down kind of which one is my dude, or if I just want to keep both. And obviously the whip dog is much cheaper. Those knots are like, I don't know, $25, and you put them in a $15 handle, $12 handle, and you're good to go. Whereas the declaration knots are more expensive because of the quality is just more. All right, so we have got a nice, now with Stirling, you can look at this, there's very few jaggedy areas. Look how it's hills and rolling hills and valleys, very gradual. Now let's look at the elasticity. Very nice, kind of longish tips there. Not super long, but you know, I'm going for kind of a creamy, rich lather these days, but still having adequate slickness to protect me. It's got a great sheen on it. Let's do a finger test. A little bit of resistance as I squeeze. Oh, I barely feel my fingerprint ridges. That's doing some good work. Let's just go ahead and try this out at this hydration level. If it's too thick, then we can just add some more water to the bowl and brush. All right, I just had a little coughing done, and wet my face as well. So let's go. So I'm remembering the light, airy, super soft quality of the whipped dog knot. This one just is harder to splay. I can splay it, but I really have to kind of get on my face, and it's a challenge. To me, it doesn't contribute to a relaxing shave experience. So but this has only been used, I don't know, 7-8 times. I'm hoping. I've seen other B5 knots out there on other guys' handles in their shave the day pictures, and that knot is all splayed out, and mine's not yet, and so I'm hoping that that's what happens. Lather feels great. I'm just working on 24 hours of beard growth today. The usual, ever since I picked up wet shaving with all this premium, I mean just really good stuff. And a lot of it is just not expensive. It may be premium in function, but it's not premium in cost in many cases. On that cheap whip dog brush, if there were no other options, very enjoyable. Even the bores are just terrific. I mean, brushes you can get for $15 are, you work on them and break them in, and they bloom and their tips split, just still very comfortable. And so that it is easy to go cheap as long as you can keep yourself from buying too much stuff. All right, lather feels good, looks good. Let's find the razor. Use number 40 on this Nacet prior to the, oh, that's nice. Prior to the Lather games, I'm sorry, austere August. I had been using, and a couple of samplers of blades, and so I hadn't really needed to, I didn't want to take blades as far as I could, because that meant it was going to take forever for me to get through my sampler. Most of the time I would take them to about 5 uses, but now I've pretty much used a different blade each day, and also in the Lather games, which I believe was June, and that kind of took me through my sampler nicely. And so now I get to spend more time with the blades that I have come to appreciate. And these Nacets have done a very good job on the short run. And I'm discovering so far that they are also doing a very good job on the long run. Very nice. It felt pretty good in terms of glide, so I'm happy with that soap mix. That means I hydrated it properly. All right, left a few drops of water on my skin. Go back to the bowl for some fresh lather. These tips feel really good. Soft brushes like this with these crazy tips can actually desensitize you a little bit and mask crappy soaps, because I mean just about any soap imaginable is going to feel really good when you lay it on with this brush, because it's just that good. So I do get a tiny bit of prickliness and stuff with the Whip Dog brush, just a little bit, because it's new as well. I just got that knot in and I've used it 6 times or so. And so in both cases with the 2 brushes I'm comparing, both of them need to be used some to get rid of a few of their nuances, and then we'll be able to really see. It's a catch-22. This one has those great soft tips, but I find I'm not really able to splay it quite yet. And so that's just a different shaving style that I don't really like as much. I want to be able to splay it. I like the way this razor holds the blade really well. Firmly. It just feels very consistent. It feels pretty confident. It inspires confidence. And for me, it can be very smooth on the second and third passes, especially if I raise the handle a little bit. And that angle apparently with this razor is one that is a little bit more mild for my skin, at least. Not trying to eliminate every hair, even in this trouble spot area. Just want to do a pass and just get good contact, but light contact. Just kind of just hold it enough to to let the blade pass along the skin. Don't try not to dig in at all. All right, I'm gonna rinse. I think this particular lather appreciates me not having quite as of an excess of drops on my skin, so I dabbed a few of the drops away with a towel. So the scent, I can smell it while I'm using it, so that's good. Not super strong. I would say it's a 3 out of 10 would be my guess. I really like it. I mean, it's understated. It's not obnoxious. I mean, what I think of when I kind of smell this is a guy who's confident and going about his thing, maybe in a business environment, because it's got some sophistication to it. But he's not trying to be in anybody's face. He's happy with who he is, and is reserved because he doesn't need to raise himself up in front of other people. Can be a little bit on the humble side, but while confident, knowing that he can take care of what needs to be done. It's just a easygoing but intelligently developed scent. And so that's kind of what I envision when I smell this. Yeah, it seems to be more of a sophisticated scent instead of like a, you know, if you took a confident person, put them in a different setting, maybe a country setting, something like that. I think this maybe works better with the other one, but you know, that's just my take on it. But it's easy going. It's not making a loud It's not gregarious. It's not making a loud announcement about what it is. A little bit of redness right there. Is that like a zit? I don't think it's a redness due to a razor burn or something like that. Take a look at that. Awesome creamy lather. Wonderful. And you may notice I just use one side, and then I kind of flip it over and use the other one. I may flip it back, depending. But that way I use each side gradually. Never really mentioned that maybe in my videos, but that question came across one day online, and not to me directly. I said, yeah, just use one side until the lather kind of fills up on that side of the blade, then I flip it over, do the same thing on the other side, and that way I know that I'm using both sides instead of using one side the whole shave and then trying to remember to use the other side of the blade the next shave to keep it even. Face feels good, no irritation. Let's rinse. We'll go ahead and do my fourth pass as a neck only pass, kind of as usual. So it looks like I dialed in this lather pretty well. And now that I've got enough for my pass, this is at my leftovers, and that's about where I want it. A little bit extra for mistakes or emergencies, that kind of thing. In case I really botch a lather. Yeah, this is a nice scent. It's manly. Man, I'm glad I got this. Much better scent when lathered than from the soap in the tub. The first 2 times I smelled this, I smelled almost like a flesh or raw base kind of smell. kind of put me off. Then when I smelled it today, I didn't get that again. And I don't get it now. And I definitely don't get that during the shave. So I'm really happy with this scent. If it could be a tenth stronger, you know, that might be my preference because it is so nice. But it's within the realm of, because it's so, I'm enjoying the scent so much. I'm fine with it being a 3 out of 10. You know, a lot of times if it's a 3, I'll give it to somebody else. But I like this one a lot. So definitely keep it. And it was it's one of the few that I purchased at full price because it was for a charity. I usually like to save money and buy used soaps. This is my little trick area over here where I have to get my technique just right, or I end up with either razor burn or a bunch of uncut hairs. Now once I get over here, it's fine. I'm sure everybody has areas in their face that are easily worked over, and some areas that are challenging. See a little bit of redness right here, tiny bit. I don't feel it, but I see it. All right. I do have, this was purchased as a set, and I do have the splash back in my office. But I found that some of the Stirling splashes, they're alcohol based, and some of them kind of stir up irritation if I do them right away after my shave. So I'll put another balm on, and then later on I'll put on that cool splash and enjoy it. Comfortable shave. Now let's rinse and take a look. So we're here on use number 40. Holy cow, I know, still an above average job for me. This Nacet blade just keeps on going. 40. Woo-woo. All right. The litmus test here in this area, there are, it was hard for me to find any hairs that were showing any length. So I believe all I had was tips and dots and stuff. I think I had a little poor technique right in this area. A lot of times I get this just fine. I don't think my technique was good today, and it's just a little more out there. I think all I see is some just, you know, tips, but no length. I usually have to cut a little better. But I mean, come on, 40 uses, no irritation. For me, very close shave, and I have high standards for my equipment because I can't go against the grain on my neck, and so I can only do cross grain passes, and I need that razor blade to work well. Since I can't do that against the grain pass, it makes it so easy to cut those hairs super short. And no, I never added any more water to the lather, so 2 3/4 teaspoons of water was added to the 1/4 teaspoon plus a little bit. I rounded it off just a little amount of soap. So classy without being flashy might be, if I had to put it short, with a little short description for this scent. Classy, confident, without being ostentatious and flashy. So yeah, I believe this soap was to benefit the like first responders, police, ambulance, and fire department, medical personnel who put their lives on line, work hard to keep us safe. And those words kind of exemplify many of those guys as well. They do their job sometimes with very little appreciation. at great risk to themselves. And many of them do it competently, with confidence. And so really appreciate those guys, not only in South Florida, but everywhere. And I think this is a very well chosen tribute for them. Just upstanding type fragrance, without being flashy or ostentatious. They get the job done. Very cool. Well, I'm really glad I ordered this soap. For reasons I've already mentioned. I was a little concerned because I believe it was kind of said that the strength wasn't, it's not, it's a little understated. And sometimes that means the scent strength is really low and you can't enjoy it while using it. There's the ingredients. Then the Stirling logo. But that is not how it turned out. It wasn't too low. It was present when it needed to be. It's too low from the puck, but lather it up and you get a great scent to enjoy while you shave. I really like it. I don't know what they combined with the Vetiver. To me, some woody things, and that is my alley. That is what I enjoy, a lot of the woody scents. And so they took something interesting like Vetiver and mixed it with something that I like it and enjoy a lot. Maybe that's why I'm having such a great time enjoying this scent. Well, there we go. I hope there was something there for you in this shave. And you take care. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. Good night.